Yo, welcome back to Schuyler Reacts. Today we have the weirdest places people got stuck. The only weird place, I won't say weird, but the only place I can remember getting stuck is in front of my mom's yard in mud when I was driving. I don't know. I don't know why I parked there because we have like a whole driveway, but I just decided to be lazy and park in the grass area, and it rained overnight and I was stuck in the mud. But other than that, I don't remember any other place I've actually been stuck, but let us find out and see other people experience. So
These are times people got stuck in some really weird places. Like when a shirtless man in Seattle managed to get his foot trapped in a basketball hoop. As he dangled upside down, nearly a dozen cops gathered around,
that
probably
looks
more
so
confused than
painful.
anything else. But fear not, help was on the way. Two trusty firefighters arrived wielding a ladder, ready to rescue our basketball enthusiast from his sky-high predicament. Now the big question remains, how did he even find himself
Why why it took so long for them to cut the net? It takes like the whole fire department and the police department just to get this guy off the rim. That's
in
insane.
this mess to begin with? This would-be robber thought he had it all figured out, but his escape plan turned out to be nothing short of a dead end. On the hunt for electrical cables, this not-so-smooth criminal short of a dead end. On
That does not look safe. What is this? That is not
the
safe
hunt for electrical
whatsoever.
cables, this not-so-smooth criminal broke into the third-story building before attempting an escape out the window. Refusing to turn himself into the police that were called, the thief spent more than 2 days on the AC unit 20 feet above the ground. And while being stuck on an AC unit for 2 days is bad enough, it's nowhere near as messy as this next situation. If you think the life of a pole dancer is glamorous, check this guy out. Clearly confused, a man in Birmingham managed to climb up a 32-foot
Okay, so why do people get bored and it's like, you know what? Let me just find the tallest object to climb. Like why would you climb that? Like, don't you think ahead? Like, okay, if I climb up, maybe I should figure out a way before I do how to get down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes sense.
lamppost, only to get stuck at the top. Making a spectacle of himself, he thrashed his arms and legs to the delight of the gathering crowd below. I know he climbed a lamp, but this guy doesn't seem too bright. Firefighters eventually used a
At all.
45-foot ladder and a hydraulic platform to bring the daredevil back to Earth. Now I'm starting to wonder if he's just a moth in disguise. In a flooded underpass in Spain, this woman found herself in a sinking situation as her car began to submerge. She'd ignored all the
Dang.
warning signs about the floods, because hey, who's gonna let a little rain ruin your day? When it was clear her car wouldn't double as a submarine, she pulled off a daring escape, crawling out of the car window like a true action hero and climbing up on the roof. She even managed to save her trusty backpack before the vehicle vanished into the depths.
She
Speaking
is
of
so
things
stuck.
being where they shouldn't, how on earth did someone's car end up like this?
Is that a mall?
Cato
What?
Bertson Larson might not be a professional plumber, but after dropping his phone into an open pit toilet, this Norwegian daredevil turned himself into a septic treasure hunter. Impressively, Cato managed to squeeze himself through the toilet seat opening to reach the unsanitary
Ew.
pit below. But getting back out turned out to be a whole other story. Things got so dire that he had to swallow his pride and maybe a little something else, and call the fire
Is that
brigade
a
for help.
cyst
It
on
took
his
them some
arm?
handy chainsaw action to free him from his porcelain prison. Oh, and the phone? It's still down there somewhere. How far would you go for
Wow.
some chicken nuggets? When West Midlands police responded to a call about a suspected burglary, they stumbled across a pair of legs sticking out of a chicken shop's extractor vent. The 45-year-old thief had crawled into the tight space
I mean, could you be mad though? Maybe he's like hungry. We don't know his situation. It's just like he could be starving. It could be like his second day of not eating. Like, you have to give, I don't know, maybe I'm too nice, but I like to give people a benefit of a doubt, especially when it comes to like food. You know what I'm saying? Because people do whatever to get food, but it just like, just help one another, bro.
overnight and became stuck, spending a whopping 7 hours in this ridiculous
Ew.
position before law enforcement arrived. The chicken enthusiast was promptly arrested on the suspicion of burglary and taken to the hospital for a checkup. I think it's safe to say that when it comes to robbing a chicken store, planning is needed. You can't just wing it. And if you're still on
Get
the
it?
fence about people's ability to get stuck, this guy should convince you.
Ta-da, main
Everyone knows
road.
if you're gonna try to break in via the vents, you need to grease things up a little. Well, that didn't help this would-be thief who found himself trapped in a restaurant vent for 2 whole days. A neighboring business owner heard the strange moaning sounds coming from the kitchen.
I keep hearing that thing again.
To his shock, he discovered a grease-covered man stuck in the exhaust vent, pleading for help. Firefighters had to dismantle the vent for almost an hour to free the slippery.
What? For 2 days? You know, that's super crazy because there was when I was working at Publix in Georgia, I heard the story of this guy. He got stuck between like I think it's either like two like walk-in refrigerators in Target. I mean at Publix, and he like like fell in between, and he's stuck there for like I guess years. Like he was missing and everything. They filed a missing report and everything. And like years after, I think years, but like I guess like years after, Paul was like I guess they had like a clean out or whatever. They had to like clean the freezer area, and it had like human remains, like clothes and everything was still there. And tested out, it was a guy that was been missing, and turned out like he wasn't even working in Publix for that long. But that's just crazy. Like how you could slip into a place, get stuck, and you can actually die. Like he could die there if that was like a closed down like restaurant or something.
Intruder, sparing him from being squeezed through the sharp edges of the narrow shaft. The lesson here is grease might make you harder to catch, but it won't help you out of tight spaces. A man in China found himself stuck after a comically disastrous attempt at a DIY appliance repair. Determined to fix his washing machine, he decided to stick his head inside the contraption, hoping to spot the source of the problem. But before anyone could make a step bro joke, he was trapped, with his head wedged tightly within the machine's confines. Cue the firefighters. The unsung heroes of stuck people everywhere. Armed with scissors and a trusty hacksaw, they carefully separated the drum from the frame. After 40 minutes of strategic disassembly, the man was freed from his metallic prison, sporting only minor scratches and a bruised ego. One ambitious inmate in Brazil thought he had the perfect plan
Claustrophobia
to break
would
free, until his own belly betrayed him. Rafael Valadao, a 16-stone prisoner, found himself lodged in the hole he and his fellow conspirators had painstakingly created in the jail wall. After chiseling out a hole with a shower pipe, Rafael's cellmate easily squeezed through the makeshift tunnel and ran to freedom. Rafael, on the other hand, wasn't so lucky. His oversized midsection was simply too large to fit through the tiny hole. Between the fits of laughter, the fire brigade freed Rafael from his predicament before marching him back to a new cell. And while Nicholas White might not have been a convicted felon, he was definitely held against his will. What was supposed to be a simple cigarette break turned into a 41-hour elevator ordeal that he wouldn't forget anytime soon. Trapped between floors in a New York office building, White pressed the alarm hoping for a quick rescue. But as the hours ticked by and his roll-late snack became less satisfying, he realized he was in deep trouble. Without a watch or cell phone, he relied on sheer determination to survive. After nearly 2 days, White was rescued from his self-imposed elevator prison sentence, and I'm pretty sure from now on he's taking the stairs. A 26
No, that's just crazy because I know elevators has cameras. How do someone not use an elevator for a business in 2 days? I would know that would be a lawsuit. No way. I mean 2 days, 41 hours, bro. 41 hours you're stuck in an elevator of a business and no one could help you. Nah,
6-year-old
bro.
man from
That's
Tucson
beyond
found
me.
himself in a sooty situation when he realized he locked his keys inside. Determined to regain access, he thought shimmying down the chimney would be a brilliant idea. The only problem was that the chimney was narrow as it got closer to the fireplace, trapping the man halfway down. Firefighters eventually were called to rescue the man who was pulled out, all covered in soot. Apparently, this is a fairly